San Diego Drug Trafficking Lawyer. Now, if you've recently been arrested in San Diego for drug trafficking, stick around. I think you're going to like this video. My name is Dod. I've been a criminal defense attorney here in Southern California since 2004. My firm is Dod Law. We have a firm in downtown San Diego, in Vista, and in Santa Ana. Today, we're going to specifically talk about drug trafficking in San Diego. Now look, we are a border town. The US-Mexico border is probably about 15 minutes away from where I stand right now. And we get thousands and thousands and thousands of drug trafficking cases every single year in this county. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, what is the common drug trafficking case? Now, you're in Mexico, you come across the border, you're asked to go to secondary, and they search your car, and lo and behold, there are kilos and kilos of cocaine or methamphetamine or fentanyl, other drugs in the car. And now you're facing criminal charges. You could be facing federal, you could be facing state charges. More likely than not, this case will be heard in federal court. There are times where, depending on the amount of the drugs, they will have you in state court, and that will be in Chula Vista on 3rd Avenue at the Chula Vista Superior Court. So sometimes in a San Diego drug trafficking case, you will be charged with a state crime and not a federal crime, and you will go to court in Chula Vista facing state charges. But the majority of these cases that we get, they are charged federally, and once they're charged federally, you are facing a significant amount of time. Now, again, the common example is when you're driving your car across the border, you go to secondary, they find drugs in your car. Or they do a search warrant at your house and they find kilos and kilos of drugs at your house. They pull you over somewhere in the streets in San Diego, they find kilos of drugs. They do a warrant at a hotel or motel, they find tons of drugs at the residence. And now here we are, you're facing federal or state drug trafficking charges, and you want to know what's your future going to hold. And a lot of it's going to come down to whether it's a state case or federal case now, because if it's a federal case, you're facing a significant amount of time. If it's a state case, you're also facing a significant amount of time. But typically, if they file it as a state case, the amount is not as much as if it's a federal case. So, what are some common defenses that we can do in a San Diego drug trafficking case? Now, the most common defense that we get on these types of cases is you didn't know what was in the car. You went down to Mexico, you were driving there, you went to a bar, you did something, and someone put stuff in your car and wanted you to stop at a certain point of interest here across the border, and you thought you were going to do them a favor, so you did that, and you got caught. You didn't even know who that person was. Sometimes you get threatened. They threaten your family. They threaten your life. They threaten you that if you don't do this, something's going to happen. Then we can run a necessity defense. We can run a duress defense, meaning if you did not do this, somebody in your family was going to get killed. Those are the common defenses. You didn't know, someone might have put it there, or you did know, but we're just running a duress or necessity defense, arguing that somebody in Mexico told you if you didn't do this, your family would be put in danger. Now, how does that work? Now, the majority of these cases are going to settle, right? Because in federal court, if you have no criminal record and we're talking about an offer, they might offer you, somewhere, you might get somewhere between 3 to 4 years to take a fast track offer. Whereas if you went to trial and you lost at trial, you could be facing up to 10 years. So think about that. If they're telling you you're only going to get somewhere between 2 to 4 years, but if you go to trial and you lose, you're going to get 10 years, 99% of you are going to say, well, I just want to plead because I don't want to take that 10 years if I lose. I just want to take the for sure 2 to 4 years. So that's why a lot of these cases settle, because in federal court, they have you by your balls with these mandatory sentences that, in my opinion, are just completely unjust, and they're just archaic laws that we have out there to punish, the drugs that are coming into the country. And we have people sitting in prison right now for 10, 15, 20 years for drugs. And again, I think these laws are completely archaic. So, some of the defenses that we're going to run are, you didn't know it was there, someone might have put him there, somebody put you up to it and threatened your family to do it, or if you're pulled over as you're driving along the freeway, we can run a suppression motion. What was the reason why the officer pulled you over? Once they pulled you over, what was the reason why they decided to search your car? Those are all things we're going to do. Now, let's get very clear. I get a lot of cases where clients say, well, the drugs that were in my car were for personal use, right? Because everybody knows that, the simple possession of drugs, even though the law just changed January 1st, 2025, making most of it a felony, but simple possession of drugs, the consequences are much less severe. So we get cases where we have pounds and kilos in a car and they say, well, this is for personal use. That's not going to fly in front of a jury, because most jurors aren't going to believe that kilos and kilos of fentanyl or cocaine or methamphetamine were for personal use. You can try to use the Costco defense, I bought in bulk just so I don't go back and purchase anymore. Typically, that defense doesn't work. The best defense that you have in your drug trafficking case is, number one, you obviously didn't know it was there, somebody put it in there, or number two, you were being threatened. And because then if you didn't do this, then somebody in your family would die. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, my name is Dod. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, www.dodlaw.com, 619-814-5110. Go ahead and give us a call. If you've been arrested in San Diego for drug trafficking, go ahead and give us a call. We'll give you a free consultation. Have a great day.